welcome to the Fundamentals of Lute Playing. My name is Laudon Schuett, and today's episode is really just an update to all of you and kind of I'm presenting the plan of where I'm going next with this YouTube channel with some of the projects that I have going. So I thought I'd update you all. First of all, one thing that I think has been kind of fun, and I hadn't been planning on making, but on my Patreon page, I created a community forum for those of you learning the lute to go and share your stories and to exchange information with other students. This was something that one of the Patreon members recommended making. And I will say it's absolutely free. You do not have to be a paid Patreon, or you don't have to pay anything for it. You may need to join as a free member. But basically, it is a messaging area, a forum where you can go and ask questions and share stories. I pop in there occasionally to sort of check in on things, but I mostly want to let everybody have a space where they can interact. I think it's a little nicer than the comment section on YouTube videos, which can be a little bit like the Wild West. I have basically only made one requirement, which is that everybody be kind to each other and supportive. And so far, that's been working wonderfully. So I'll put a link in the description to that community forum. And again, that's totally free, even though it's a Patreon link. Again, you don't have to be a paid member. You should be able to access that by just becoming a free member. Some of you may have noticed that I've started to record the lesson pieces, both from the video series and from the recently released book. That is a big project that I've started, and there's some more that I'm releasing this week. I will let everybody know that with the trebles, things like green sleeves and Ruggiero and stuff like that, I'm still debating on whether I should release them as a duet. I could record both parts and layer them, or as a single treble line. Figuring that out. So those trebles may come a little bit later. I know some people want the green sleeves. I'm leaning toward just playing the trebles so it's really clear, and so students aren't confused hearing that accompaniment. I may end up just recording it both ways eventually, but there's a bunch of pieces to record. I'm also going to be recording the pieces from the Mel Bay book that I released a few years ago. The original compositions, I'm doing a big series of revisions, so I am going to release those to everybody, the scores as well as recordings. And then, what else do I have going on? So I had planned an episode on divisions and embellishment. And talking to several other people, I realized, okay, some people really want a lot of information on this. So I've sort of expanded that, and I'm going to be making a primer on writing or improvising your own divisions on notes. And this is just going to be maybe a 5 to 10 page little PDF, completely free. I just want everyone to know that's why that episode's taking a little bit longer, is that it's sort of expanded. It may even be a 2-part episode coming up. I've been getting some great feedback on the method book, which is exactly what I wanted. And I think the big takeaway is that people really liked the order of the YouTube video series and would love it if the book matched that order. So when I start revisions in the fall, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of restructure the book so it follows the video series a little more closely. I've explained to a few people that none of this was planned. I hadn't been planning on making a method book. I had started the YouTube series, and then people had asked about methods, and I realized, a lot of methods were out of print or they were crazy expensive. And so I decided, okay, I'll make a method. And I put it in an order that I thought made sense with it being the method by itself. But I've had a lot of people say, oh, we discovered your channel. It'd be really nice if the book just followed a little more closely the path of the series. So that is on my list of revisions in the fall. And I've gotten some other things, like some errors that were caught. So if you are using the method book and you have ideas, if you have spotted any errors, please let me know. I think the other plans I have for revisions is I'm going to include that chapter, that primer that I'm making is going to be put in as an additional chapter. Just some nice things like that in the fall. But I think the big upcoming things are getting these recordings up so that people have recording examples from the book and from the series. And I'm going to do both. So if you're somebody working on Wilson's Wild or Maids in Constraint, which are not in the book but in the YouTube series, I am going to record those as well. I'm going to record everything. It'll take a little bit of time. As many of you know, I've got 2 young children, and I sort of have to scramble to record these things. I sit down and I go, oh, get it done. I've got 2 hours, or this and this. And then, the neighbors start making noise or leaf blowers start going, and I go, oh, lost that day. So I'll get those things up as quickly as I can. The original compositions, I will release a video shortly with a little PDF packet of all of the ones that I've done revisions on. Basically, I went back to my original compositions and I said, okay, which were the ones that I liked the most? And now, knowing what I know and with the knowledge I have now, how would I revise and clean some things up? In some cases, it's not a whole lot. In some cases, it's some pretty major changes. But what I'm going to do is put a little packet together of those pieces that were revised, and I'm just going to release those for free. Many of those pieces are maybe beyond the level of a lot of you that are watching the series, but maybe someday you'll be able to play them. And I love this idea of adding to the repertoire. I know that there's already just an absolute ton of lute music out there, but my thought is the more the merrier. And I do like the idea of getting back to this idea of the composer performer. I've always wanted to be a composer performer. I toured a lot and hid my pieces while I was playing and played them as sort of anonymous pieces, and it was just an absolute blast. So I'll look forward to getting those revisions out probably in an episode just before the big Divisions episode comes out. So that's my roadmap. I've got videos coming out to support those students who are learning from the book and from the YouTube series. I'm going to pump those out as quickly as I can. I think the earlier levels are obviously going to go faster because they're easier pieces. Some of the later level stuff I've already recorded, things like Lady Clifton's Spirit, things like the Terzi Canzone, there's a Terzi Fantasy that I did. There's a number of the really more advanced stuff that I've already done. I might re-record some of those just for consistency of audio quality. Like there's an Albert de Reap Fantasy that I recorded when I just had the iPhone and didn't have the external microphone. So I might go back and re-record that one and make sure it sounds nice for you guys. So that's the big plan. I'm also thinking that this might be a good episode in the comment section if people have requests for video ideas. I've got a little list. The Division one, like I said, was requested, and that one I've got coming up. But if you guys have any ideas, please toss them at me, and I'll start to craft those. But I think for the next few months, I'm going to be pumping out a lot of recordings so that students have recorded examples of the books and the pieces. So, but any other ideas, toss them at me. And I hope everyone's practicing is going well. I hope everyone is enjoying the lute. If you're enjoying this channel, the best way you can support it is by subscribing. If you'd like to support in other ways, you can also visit my Patreon page. Again, I've got a forum on there, and you could be a free member to use that. And then I have some different levels if you want to support in different ways. In any case, have a wonderful week and happy looting. Bye-bye.